What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the 90 Degrees Fightcast. I have a very special guest with me today. He's the #1 ranked black belt in the No-Gi World Masters Free Light Featherweight.
That's correct.
Is that right? American champion and No-Gi champion. What's it called? European, right?
European champion.
European as well. Spencer Hewit. So thank you for coming on the show, Spencer. I really appreciate it. Obviously I've trained with you a few times, but because of the area I couldn't get to here, but there's a lot of inspiration that I want to kind of let out for the students and our viewers. So tell me a little bit about yourself and the viewers.
Okay, so I started Brazilian Jui Jitsu in my 20s, so I wasn't super young, but before that I'd done judo. I'd done judo as a kid, competed, done quite well. Then I'd done boxing. Competed again, done very well. Then I had an injury, so it took me out of boxing for a while. I didn't think I'd do sport, actually. I had a disc problem. And then I found Brazilian Jui Jitsu, so I thought I'd just do it like as a hobby, but not taking it too serious because of injuries. Over the period of time with Brazilian Jui Jitsu and strength and conditioning and physio, I managed to actually reverse the injury through Brazilian Jui Jitsu. So then I started competing. As a white belt, I won my first tournament. I think it was the Seni. This was before all major tournaments started. It was the first major tournament in the UK. It was the Seni. I won that. And then I went to Brazil. I trained in Brazil. Got my blue belt in Brazil. That was really cool. I got it at Gracie Barra in Brazil, in Rio. And then literally, it's very different to now where you have to register online and stuff for tournaments. Back then, you had to go to like a little office and register over the counter and pay there. So I literally got my blue belt, went to the registration place, paid, competed, and fought in my first world championships, blue belt.
In Brazil?
Yeah, didn't win, I just lost on points, and you know, obviously I just got my blue belt like 3 days before, so I didn't expect to win, but I just wanted to, you know, I was in Brazil, let's do it in a Tutuca tennis club. Up in Brazil, it was a great experience, and I remember walking out after watching. I think I watched people like Terror, Roger Gracie, Jacare, and them guys. I was like, I want to do this as a career. I want to go to the World Championships and be a world champion.
So that was your kind of crucial moment.
Yeah, that was my crucial. Even though like I literally only got my blue belt, so like I had that ambition from that very. First start, but sounded a bit. I wanted to be like a blue belt world champion or a purple belt world champion. I didn't foresee black belt yet, because you got to remember at the time there weren't no black belts even teaching in the UK.
Yeah. When was this?
Well, not English anyway, because the first black belts. This is like more than 25 years ago. So the first black belts were like Jude Samuels, Mark Warder, them sort of guys. But that come after, so my instructor was a blue belt, an English blue belt. But you had Maurizio Gomez over here and people like that. And so it's very, very different. You know, the highest belts we had in this country were blue belts. So when Brazilians came over to do seminars, they used to line up the whole class. Yeah. They'd line up the whole class, you might have 30 people, and they'd just spar you one after the other and just run through you, like, because we were so behind.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But times have changed now, so. That's sort of a bit of a backstory into it. Then, yeah, I just kept competing, kept enjoying it, and then started getting some success, like purple belt. Took some bronze medals at like big tournaments, worlds, silver at Europeans. Never quite getting the gold. Up brown belt again, and then when I got to brown belt, I got a bit frustrated with jiu-jitsu. Losing some matches on like 0-0 scores. Looking back now, you shouldn't moan about them. It's your job to make things happen. So I turned my eye to MMA.
Yeah.
Because I had a boxing background, and I had brown belt jiu-jitsu, which was, you know, on the UK's MMA scene, was a good level grappler. So then I went to MMA, and the actual original reason for doing the MMA was going to be to pay for my trips abroad, because the World Championships, Europeans were all in abroad. Worlds was at the time. After it being in Rio, they moved it to California, so in the pyramid. So you know, you're looking at back then, still like £1,800, which is about £3,000 to do a tournament. So obviously it weren't sponsorship or nothing like that. So I thought if I do MMA, earn the money to fund my jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So how that happened was literally this guy came into my gym and said, I'm looking for a fight around 61 kilos for an MMA fight. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. I said, yeah, I'll do it. Well, training MMA, I was like, okay, rung up some guys. I was like, let's start doing pads, let's start sparring, stand up, wrestling. I was meant to fight a guy same weight, and then what happened was the guy was originally going to fight pulled out. So now there was no opponent. But I'd sold a lot of tickets. Obviously, I had my own academy. I was very well known in the local area. I think I had maybe 300 or 400 people going.
So you had the academy at blackbelt?
Yeah, and I used to, like, I was getting £10 a ticket, so £4,000. You know, I didn't want to lose that money. I didn't want to let people down. So the promoter said, I'm going to get you a replacement. Now, the MMA show I was fighting on was called EFC. They're not even around no more. The guy running it didn't really know about MMA. He's an ex-doorman sort of guy. Starting up. Yeah. So he gets a guy in, I turn up. I was like, the other guy made weight? He's like, nah, he's not the same weight as you. I said, what do you mean he's not the same weight as me? So it works out, I made weight for my fight, 61.5 kilos. And this guy was about 80 kilos.
Also, that's why you asked the question, did you see it?
I'm not fighting someone 80 kilos. Like, well, you have to go out and tell like, all your fans that you're not fighting. So he put me in a predicament. So I was like, so I said, he said, you got ain't in good shape. I haven't seen this guy. So I took his word. He's like, I ain't in good shape. So I think maybe he's a bit overweight. So then he comes back to me and goes, oh, your opponent said no submissions on the ground. I said, no. Like he said, it's a pro MMA fight. He said, no strikes on the ground. I said, it's a pro MMA fight. We can't change the rules. Yeah, it's really, really dodgy. Yeah. And so I said, all right, no strikes on the ground. So anyway, I walk into the cage and I look over. This guy's 6'2", ripped. He was.
So you said yes to those?
Yeah, right. So I see this guy. He's ripped, 6'2". I'm like, okay, it's my first MMA fight. Yeah. So I wasn't experienced as I was. I wasn't a great wrestler. I had jiu-jitsu and boxing. There was no way I was going to box this guy. I had too much weight. So I thought, oh, I'm going to take him down. So the first round, I'm trying to take this guy down, and he's holding the cage, which you're not allowed to do. And they was just letting that happen. So then I tell my corner, look, he's holding the cage. Can you like have a word with, like, start banging the cage where he's holding? So he started doing that and making him let go. Yeah. And on the second round, I think it was the second round, I took him, no, I got a guillotine. I had a guillotine, I was on the bottom. He's postured up. Now, the rules were no strikes on the ground. Even though I wanted strikes, they said no, and he drops right hands on me. So it's on YouTube somewhere. So I push off and I go to the referee. I said there was no strikes on the ground. And the referee's like, no, there is. So I was like, oh, all right. So I then sweep him. I get on top and then I ground and pound this guy and then get a rear naked choke. And win. So that was my first experience of MMA. And it was very testing because of the size difference. It was hard to take him down holding the cage. And he was a lot heavier than me. And I remember, like, when I was trying to take him down, he was throwing some big shots. And when he was so much taller, he had good leverage. So I won the fight. Went fine. I used that money, I think, to go to the Nogi Wells as a brown belt. I didn't do too well. I think I sort of had the bug for MMA now. So then
you won the first fight.
I won the fight. Yeah, won the fight. So then I had to get offered the second fight. Same promoter, didn't learn my lesson, so I went back on there. This time it was a guy my weight. So I'm fighting this guy my way. Same guy I was meant to fight last time. He pulls out again.
Okay.
We got a replacement. So I say, who is it? I said, I want to know the name. And he says, Ben Hajir. So basically, when I started my jiu-jitsu journey, I was under a guy called Mark Border, a fantastic coach. I'm not no longer with him anymore. I'm coming out of the story, but we'll go back. The reason I changed team was I realised for me to win the tournaments, I needed a different sort of training, and I needed the network support of a bigger team. So I came to Checkmat. Checkmat invited me in. Good friend of mine, Val Monetto, invited me over after training with him. I was training with him a about 4 or 5 months, as well as being under my own coach. And I realised my level of jiu-jitsu for competition was improving. I started to get better results, and I felt I'm getting better training somewhere else, and then I'm giving credit to where I'm at.
Yeah.
And at the time they cancelled brown and black belt sparring and stuff, there was no network, so I decided to change. So I sat down with my coach at the time and just said, you know, for me to progress where I want to go, I'm going to change teams. He was cool with it. He understood. He was going more self-defense at the time.
Oh, so he was actually quite cool.
Yeah, he was cool.
Like, I've heard some really bad stories.
No, he's a good guy. I think he realised that the path he was taking was different to mine. Being under a guy who's pushing more self-defense, and I want to go more competition.
Yeah.
One thing that made me make that decision, cause you remember I've been with this guy from white belt to black belt. It wasn't like I left to get a belt quick. So what made me make that decision was, I said one thing to myself: do I stay loyal to a person, or do I stay loyal to a dream?
So hold on. Before you came to Checkmat, you got your black belt.
Yeah, I was already black belt. So a lot of people leave teams to get belts quicker.
Yeah.
I was already a black belt. Like, there was no other motive but to do better in tournaments. So I
had a predicament.
Yeah. So I made that decision. I'm gonna stay loyal to my dream over a person. That was it. Yeah. And then after being with Checkmat, I started to get better results. I won Grapple Industries, which is a small tournament, but it was a good result. There's some good people in there. And then after being with Checkmat, I think for 3 years, that's when the results really started. You can see on the medals, if you go back, a lot of them are bronzes. Yeah. So you go to this one, there's a bronze, then it goes silver, then bronze, then silver, then the golds will start. Yeah. There's some more golds over there. So that's the progression of changing to a team and different style of training.
You can actually see
the progression in the medals. And then I got ranked #1 in the Nogi IBJF, I won the Europeans, American Nationals, and the results started coming. So I made the right decision for myself. And for younger athletes coming up, you've got to make a decision. What is your reason for doing Brazilian Jiu? If you are looking for a bit of self-defense, you know, go to your local club. That's fine, you know. But there's a lot of choice now in clubs. I personally, before you sign up to anywhere, go there. Most good places offer you a free class. Train there. You know, do you feel comfortable there? Do you like the way the instructor teaches? Don't just go to the first place you go. Try it out. Try different places, you know. If you want to compete, you should be going to somewhere where they have a competition team. You're going to get support. You're going to get the right sort of training. So it all depends on what you're looking for, what you're going to get. For me to win the tournaments wanted to win, I had to go to Checkmat to get support, to spar with the high-level guys, to get the development. You know, when I go to America, I get to train with the best guys in their HQ, because they're worldwide. Yeah. So that's what that brought me. Going back to the MMA now. Okay, this is where we're going to bounce around a bit as well. Like no. So with the MMA, so I get to fight Ben Hajir. Now I was with Mark Warder at the time, before I came to Checkmat, and Ben Hajir was one of his old students. What had happened was Mark Warder had a really good team at the time of competition. There was me, Michael Russell, and Edwards, Luke Lamoux, Shane. There was loads of good, and we was doing very well at competition. This is when he pushed more tournament. But there was a split. So the team split. I stayed, and Mike, Adam, and Ben went and started their own thing. They started a club in Romford. So the guy that I'm fighting was one of them guys. So when I was offered the fight, I actually openly said, "That's my old teammate. I'd rather not fight." Yeah. You know, I see him as a friend. I know we don't train together, but we knew each other for like 5, 6 years.
Yeah, so you don't want to go.
And I said no. So then, I don't know if the promoter was disturbed. He's like, no, he asked for it. So what? I said, tell him I don't want to fight. He's like, he said, like, were you scared? That's what they're saying. Yeah. So my back went up straight. I was like, okay, tell him come. Yeah. So I trained, like, seriously trained. Like, I brought in some extra training. Especially because he's basically and you got to remember, that was a local team. And I was teaching at the same time, and I was going into MMA, so I felt it was very much like, if you guys are putting one of their students against me, and if I lose, it's like, oh, your team's better than mine, right? Yeah. So, and that, I use that as a fuel. That might not have been the process, but I make stuff up in my head to make me train harder. Better, yeah. So I trained hard, and so the fight happened, and I bumped into people that knew them and knew me, and a lot of guys were saying like, oh, this guy's got really good stand-up, he does Thai, he does this. But what a lot of people forget is when I told them, I boxed for an awful long time, at a high level.
How many years?
I boxed for over 10 years.
Okay.
And I carried it on, and I fought, and I had good boxing, and I had a heavy hand. So the fight starts, I think they believe I was going to use jiu-jitsu.
Just straight
come out, catch him with one shot, catch him with a right uppercut, drop him, beat him up, take his back, first round victory.
Oh really?
My easiest fight out of all my fights, you know, just went for him. And yeah, so I'm now 2-0 in MMA.
Yeah.
And
you with Checkmat.
I called out their coach as well, because I believe he was my whole teammate, and I believe he was the guy that set it up. I don't know if he did or not, but I called him out. He didn't want to know, he wasn't an MMA guy, and that was sort of squashed. Then the MMA run started, so I was 2-0. I was earning like 3 or 4 grand a fight, which back then was a lot of money on ticket sales, which most MMA fighters, even now, don't get paid that much. It's because I sold tickets. It was all done by ticket sales, not per. And then I carried on my MMA career. I went on to UCMA was the biggest show for me. That was the step up. Dave O'Donnell running it. He ran a really good show in London at the Troxy. Had my first. It was one of the shows I always wanted to get on. I won that, and then also I was fighting on CFC. I was CFC champion. But at the time, I was very self-trained, so I was literally like learning as I go. I was doing MMA fights, and maybe I struggled in a fight with a bit of wrestling, so I was like, okay, let's find a wrestling coach. So then do a bit more wrestling, and then I noticed like some jiu-jitsu didn't work very well in MMA compared to sports jiu-jitsu. I had to change it. My brother was my pad man. My brother's an ex-pro boxer. Very good boxer, so he was my pad guy, so I had a good team, right? And then what happened was, where I was fighting, people started joining the team, so I then got an MMA team, and the MMA team was very, very successful. We had Makunga, co-host, Danny Eli. So Danny Eli was a guy who was a kickboxing champion, so they come from other sports to come and join me, so they already had good backgrounds. I was like attracting people just through reputation. And then I had a very good team. Like Kunga was like 4-0, Cole was 3-0, Danny Eli was, and we had this like a team of like
warriors,
like under 30 guys, really, like a really high. And I remember one night we fought in a Circus Tavern on CFC, and it pretty much was my whole team on there, and all of us won. It was like 7 guys, and we all won. And the momentum started taking over, and then I had an MMA team. But again, and then I started coaching MMA. But like I said, I learned it the hard way. I didn't have a coach saying, you need to do this. I fought and then adapted, and then I had to go back and learn. So my MMA career went on, and I was UCMA champion. I had a very big victory. I fought a guy called Corey Tate, who was meant to be the next Anderson Silva. He was 2-weight champion, knocking people out in the first round. And same thing happened again. He thought I was going to take him down. I come out, caught him with a right hand and knocked him out.
So just a TKO?
Yeah, TKO, like 10-second KO. But this guy was good. So like people get these flash knockouts against like journeyman.
Yeah,
this guy was a legit guy. And beforehand I'd already torn my meniscus, so I actually couldn't take it to the ground even if I wanted. So I had to stand up, so I just worked a lot of stand up. And yeah, I've become the champion. Then I lost to a guy called Giorgio Andrews, who was, I think he was 11-0. He beat Frank Shamrock's son. He was a legit guy. He out-wrestled me. He was from London Shoot Fighters, a very strong team. And I took that loss a little bit. And then I bounced back, got some more wins. And yeah, it went on from there. And then later on, I got to about 36, 37. I started getting losses, age catching up with me, damage. I got torn my biceps tendon, meniscus.
How old were you at this time?
Sorry?
How old were you around this time?
About 37. I snapped my bicep tendon. I got metal plate in there. So yeah, you see metal plate in my face. So things started taking a toll. But at the same time, where I'd done so well, the bigger shows started calling Bellator, Bama, Cage Warriors. But I was already on the decline.
Yeah, you felt like you were past the prime. Yeah, too many injuries.
And I had a rematch with that Corey Tate. He beat me, and that's when I broke my eye socket. So I feel like I was rushing back, like I wanted to keep fighting, but you know, I was a bit gun shy because I knew I had the metal plate and the bicep tendon, and I shouldn't have been fighting at the moment in time. Maybe I should have took time out and come back. So I started getting some losses, chasing wins. And then I decided to retire. I had a small bleed on the brain, not in a fight, just through overtraining. I retired, and I was at a loss actually a little bit. I spent my time just dedicated to a sport, and then like, okay, I'm not fighting no more. So where do I go from there?
Was that like a wake up call? Like, well, what made you retire? Was it that blood clot?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't enough to be life threatening or anything like that. Well, actually, I didn't know that at the time.
Well,
so when I had this kind of, it ain't funny, but the story. So I'm in hospital, and they're like, you've got a bleed on the brain because they've done a scan.
Yeah.
So then the doctor just leaves me, and I'm there with my wife, and she's crying. So then we Google, like, what's going to happen? It's like, they cut your skull open, they drill your... oh my God. But I'm one of them people like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I can do. So it works out, the doctor comes out and says, look, as long as you don't take any more, it will heal. It's a small bleed, it's fine. So a few months later, I go back to him, and then he tells me, like, another doctor's like, listen, it's healed up, you're going to be fine. You could technically go back to MMA after like 6 or 7 months. I was like, no, I'm done. And then I started pushing my jiu-jitsu again. Yeah. And then I remembered the original goal. The original goal, which was, I wanted to be a world champion. Yeah. I'm like, okay, let's go back to that goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we started training. And that's when I made the decision after some jiu-jitsu to go to Checkmat. So I know bounce. I worked with Checkmat when I've done my MMA career. So now I've moved over to Checkmat. Results start coming, and then the goals start coming. I become European champion, American national champion, and a lot of people ask me, how do you miss the MMA? Man, I love the jiu-jitsu so much.
Jiu-jitsu is amazing.
Yeah, I get to go and fight in California, Las Vegas, and even everyone's like, oh, you must be like really cool out there. It is, but I'm always focused on the goal. I wouldn't be in these countries if it weren't for jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So I go out there, I train. Go to bed early, I eat right, and then I go and perform and get results.
Discipline.
Once I get the result, I might spend a day relaxing. I don't drink. I just, after the competition, I have enjoy some food, cheap food. Then I'm back training. You don't stop, you know.
Yeah. It's a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think sometimes you don't enjoy the victory, but understand there's another challenge coming. And that's the key. So
that's your mindset.
Yeah, I'm ranked #1 from last year. My goal is to be ranked #1 this year, but I want to win the big 3. So the big 3 is Europeans, which I won last year, Pan Americans, which I took silver last year, and the Worlds, which I took silver. So I'm very close to all of them. Yeah, I want the big 3. Yeah. So even though I'm ranked #1, I didn't win the big 3. Yeah, and that's the goal. Yes, I'm doing it at Masters 3. So there's this thing like people will say, oh yeah, no, like. When you win black belt adult, you're the real champion. So basically, when you win an adult, that's all age division. So I could fight adult, but 45 years old is going to be a challenge. For my goal is I want to be the best black belt, no gi, Masters 3, round my age in the world. Okay, because it's an even playing field. We're the same age, roughly. We're the same weight. Roughly, yeah. And it's my jiu-jitsu versus your jiu-jitsu, yeah? Where, obviously if I went down to adult, they're younger, they're more athletic, they can recover quicker. I know, I've won some adult tournaments, but it's a bigger, I don't think, I have to be realistic.
You have to think about what you're going to put your body through, isn't it?
Yeah. And them guys that are up and coming superstars. So I just want to be the best guy my age, my weight in the world. And it's all about people like, you also get these guys, I don't know why you compete. People that compete is because of their ego. No, it's not. No. It's the actual opposite. A lot of guys who don't compete, they're so scared that when they compete, if they lose, they're going to get a reality check. Yeah. They're not as good as what they thought they were, or they're students. So they don't compete, they hide behind it. For me, I will go and compete, I will test my jiu-jitsu. Win or lose, I will find out what works and what don't work. And work on it. At black belt at my level. It's very different in your club when you're sparring with lower belts. Everything's going to work. You're going to look great. Yeah. Same as Instagram, YouTube. You see these guys putting these flashy moves in their club. Can you do that
in a fight?
In a tournament? So I'm on the same weight, same age, and to me, that's what it's about. I want to be the best guy in the world at my age, my weight class, and that's the goal. And that's my goal now. I think it's important to wake up every day with goals. Yeah. So I get another thing that I would say to the younger generation: dream big, but you got to understand the bigger you're dreaming, the more you're gonna have to work. And that's the
Nothing
difference.
comes easy.
Sometimes maybe having a dream here and have to work up here, you're hitting, right? So, and give yourself small goals first. Okay, let's say it's jiu-jitsu. Okay, I'm gonna try and win an IBJF London, so you win that. Okay. Next step, try and win the Europeans. You go to the Europeans. All right, you might get silver. Okay, I'm gonna go back next year and try and improve one more, work on what I need to work, and then you hit these goals.
Marginal gains.
Yeah, and there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be losses, but you've got to have what I call a growth mindset.
Which each stands for.
Yeah, growth mindset.
Growth mindset versus fixed
even
mindset.
when you win, like
Yeah.
I see a lot of people go, what's the saying? You either there's no loss. It's either win or learn.
Yeah, you either learn something or you win or learn, literally.
But I actually believe you can win and learn as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's always
you
learn.
never stop learning.
So just because you win, it don't mean you've done everything right. You might have made some mistakes. It's things you can do. So yeah, it's all about growth mindset. Always progressing, always getting better. Another thing is, especially my generation, some of the guys still teach what they were taught 10 years ago.
No adaptation.
The car you drove 10 years ago is not as good as the car now.
Yeah.
The
world changes, everything changes.
Yeah. The car 20 years ago, even a top of the range car will struggle against an average car now.
No, yeah.
So jiu-jitsu is the same. You have to evolve. Otherwise your jiu-jitsu left behind. Especially if you're a coach, you should be teaching your students the good fundamentals that never change, but also up-to-date techniques, especially if they're competing, so they can stay up-to-date with the current competition.
Yeah. So speaking of that, right? What type of prep do you do? Because I know you do. Like your students speak highly of you.
Mm-hmm.
My brother speaks highly. I speak highly of you, and for a reason, because I've seen like how you do your classes, how you teach. I want to know a little bit more about your mindset on the prep work and your systems.
So, how do you stay so up to date? Well, I'm going to actually take a step back. So what I used to do, I had an instructor who used to teach me the basic moves. But remember I said he was a blue belt at the time when he first started teaching. So, and obviously he wasn't a world champion. So he wasn't that high level instructor. A great instructor, showed everything that he knew. So what I used to do is, there weren't internet like there was now. So you buy an they weren't even instruct. You used to buy like the world champions who at the time were called Mondials in Brazil. A year later, so he was always a year behind. You would then watch the current world champions and you'd watch it. It was on DVD. You'd play back forward and you'd pick the move. Like, I noticed you use that move every fight. You'd watch it and then you'd get someone in a garage because we didn't have a full-time academy, and you'd practice. So then when the modern technology comes now, where you've got flow grappling and you've got all the instructionals, it's the most easiest studying in the world. I used to have to rewind a DVD back and forth. Now I can study the best guys in the world. Plus, whenever I travel to the World Championships in Las Vegas, California, I train at the best academies. And you see how they train, and not just the techniques, like how they prepare.
Yeah.
And you take the bits that you like and add it to your game. But for me, what makes me a good coach is, and I say coach, I'm not an instructor. There's a lot of guys who call themselves jiu-jitsu instructors. They teach you a move. I teach.
So what's the difference?
I'm a coach. My job is to develop you. That's what a coach is. He develops the athlete.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I'm not just teaching a group of people to move on. I'm going to develop every guy in my class. Individually, working on their strengths, their weaknesses and everything else. That's why when I teach stuff, I don't just teach what works for me, because everyone's different body type. On and off the mat as well, like you've got to make sure they understand how to deal with nerves, to make it fighting it the right way and everything else. So I structure the training around each athlete, and I make sure everyone has, you might have a guy who's 6'2" and a guy who's 5'4", their game's going to be different. But over the year, I'll teach moves that suit both their styles and also personality. Some guys are more laid back, some guys are more aggressive, and you've got to make sure you get that. Like some of my guys, they lose a tournament not because they're not good enough, maybe they're too emotional. So we have to learn how to. For me, there should be no emotion on the mat.
Yeah, but everyone's different.
It's your skill and technique on the mat. You start getting. Imagine you do a maths question and you're emotional and all pumped, your brain ain't gonna. You
can't function properly.
No,
Yeah.
So that's important. So I teach systems. I normally stay with a certain system for a period of time, and then I will teach maybe guard passing, different styles of guard passing, how they link together. Then I might do guard retention, and then submission. So they learn each system. Then once I believe most of the team have got it, obviously getting new people come in as well, so you have to tailor it for them. But once most of the team got it, then it's now how to link the systems. How do you link your guard pass into side control, into submission? And that's I believe the key to the development of athletes and your jiu-jitsu for the future. Now, when you first learned Brazilian Jui Jitsu, back in the day, it was very random. You'd come in, you'd get taught an armbar, a triangle. The next day, a guard pass. It was just whatever. None of it linked really together.
You have to figure out yourself.
That's how it was taught back then. And now, we've looked at it to teach it more like you would any other sport, systematically.
Yeah.
We systematically teach Brazilian Jui Jitsu.
Like a curriculum, basically. Like in school, we know how we build people up, and you need to learn this.
It will always change with the current time because there's new techniques that are getting popular. And one, you've got to learn maybe to add them techniques, but you also got to learn how to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a shift in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu where leg locks got very popular, and a lot of the old clubs weren't addressing leg locks, so then they fell behind. At the moment, wrestling is very popular, especially in no-gi. You know, so a lot of teams are now trying to add the wrestling. We've been doing wrestling for 10 years. Like in my teams, it's not, you know, every class is the first half. You know, there's still clubs that start on their knees. Like, you don't. If you're at a competition club and you're still starting on your knees, when you're at competition, you're going to start on your feet. So you better make sure you know how to pull guard or how to wrestle.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that's a big problem in a lot of places.
Don't get me wrong, if it's a self-defense place and all that stuff, I get it, you know, it reduces, well they say it reduces injuries. Yeah mate, there are injuries created on stand-up where you twist your knees, but your students should be educated in what takedowns are correct and which don't cause like leg twisting, and also your students should know how to break fall and land correctly as well. Yeah. That's your job, you know.
And remove the ego.
Yeah, and there's certain takedowns I don't let my students do because there's a high risk of injury, and they're not very effective anyway, like some old school techniques. Like, there's a much better way of doing it, it's safer. You start injuring your teammates, you weaken your team.
Yeah. Okay. No, man.
Any other questions?
You know what, you've answered a lot of the questions, and especially inspiring because you've got an amazing story. And I can see that you're a good coach, you're an amazing coach. All I've ever heard is amazing things. I literally would be training here if it wasn't for the distance. But God willing, I'm going to at least try to come to a competition class, because what I can do is I can drill at home and then I can make it. It's all about the will.
Yeah, and that's what. So as a coach, it's not about you either.
Yeah.
So, like we talked about my achievements, but as a coach, my medals are not nothing to do with coaching. So what my achievements as a coach are like, okay, Clive, 65-year-old, become European no-gi champion. Okay, he never even wanted to compete.
But he's become
he won that. Christian, another guy, he came from another team, weren't winning no major tournaments. He was here for maybe 3 years, wins the European brown belt. Masters maybe 1 or 2, which is a tough division. Locally we go to tournaments and do very well, but we also do international tournaments. So it's the development of your athlete. And another thing that I would like to say is, when you speak to a lot of people that have jiu-jitsu clubs, MMA clubs, Thai box clubs, and we'll be out and I'll be talking and I'll say, oh, how's your club doing that club? I've got this kid, he's 16 years old, he's brilliant. Okay. I didn't ask you how long the kid was, I asked you how your club is. When someone asked me, how's your club doing? Really good. I said, all my students are doing really well. Yeah. I don't judge my club on one standout student, because every club has a good...
It's like a majority.
You're just going to have 1 or 2 guys that train really hard and... Okay. How many of your guys are good? That comes down to coaching.
Yeah.
Okay, when I've got 60 students, and out of that 60, 30 compete. And 30 of them are all getting on the podium, and 25 of them are taking gold medals.
Yeah.
That's my coaching.
That's the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one, like, what, you focus on one all your time on one guy?
But that does happen in places, they do that.
If you're 16, you're 30, you're 65, I will give you the same attention. You all have the same potential. And same as you get an athletic guy comes in, goes, this guy looks good. We'll see over a period of time. There might be a kid who's 60 kilos, non-athletic, but guess what? He understands technique and he has all the potential in the world.
He knows how to piece things together.
Yeah, he might have a very good mindset for jiu-jitsu, which jiu-jitsu is problem solving.
Yeah.
You don't ain't about who's the biggest, strongest, fastest, quickest.
That's why I love it.
Gordon Ryan, yeah, he's a massive, big guy, but you watch his jiu-jitsu, it's slow, methodical, calculated. He's not an explosive athlete. So, yeah, I just try and give everyone the same opportunities, and I try and give people opportunities. You know, I've got students who showed good promise and good talent, and now they work at the gym so they can train full time. And trying to help people. You know, I've had students come to me where they've lost their job, like, Spencer, I want to train but I've lost my job. I'm like, not a problem. You train, clean my mats till you get sorted. You know, it's about giving back. And my students do an awful lot for me as well. It's a two-way thing. You know, I've had, you know, even this academy. You know, all my students came in and we all painted it and we all put the mats down and my students built this and some were chippy, some. You know, no one charged me, they helped me out. I offered to pay, but...
It's a family.
Yeah, it's family, you know, and that's what you do. It's about networking together.
Yeah, you grow together as well, isn't it?
Exactly, and, you know, even this is in Rainham, locally in the community, I'm well known for helping get kids off the streets and give people a place to belong.
Yeah, we need that, because that's another problem in society, isn't it? If they don't, everyone has troubled childhood, so we have all sorts of problems, right? If there's nowhere to go, and now we have a problem with the culture, that we're taught, it's like we can't, as men, you know, be men, right? And we can't be strong, and we shouldn't be, and we should be quiet, and it causes a ripple effect. And I've seen it, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. We need kids to get into martial arts, and we need a place.
Man, female, it is your responsibility to be able to protect yourself.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
If you're out on the street and someone attacks you, you can dial 999. It will take 30 minutes to 15 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Someone breaks into your house and your wife and your child is asleep. It's your job to protect your family. You can call the police, but again, they're going to take 15 minutes to get there.
You need to do something.
And I believe it's. You know, as a man, your priority is to protect your family and provide everything else. Women should know how to protect themselves as well, because you know they can be vulnerable as well.
And there's a lot more women getting into jiu-jitsu,
right?
Because I never used to see a lot now. Because a lot of times, and this is what I don't like. It's like I know it's changing, right? I don't know how much it's changed. Because my club we don't have many female athletes. But what bothers me is like sometimes I find, and even in secondary school, the girls think that it's not for them, and it's okay to be weak. I believe it doesn't matter. Yeah, you don't know, because at the end of the day, my wife, she does Muay Thai now, and I've started to teach her the jiu-jitsu at home. Excellent. Right, because I can't find a female-only class. She wants to go to a female-only class. So I teach her the jiu-jitsu, she's found the Muay Thai class, and there's a day and night difference in her confidence. Day and night difference. She used to call me up and say, can you stay on the phone? I'm scared. Now she calls me up and says, if this guy touches me, what should I do? There's a big difference in it. So what do you say? Is the proportion going on in your experience? You've got a bigger club.
We have more females now, but one thing I have noticed is the kids class.
Yeah.
I'd actually say the class is 50-50 now. A lot of parents
are starting to realise.
Are putting their children in all across the board.
Yeah.
And it's very nice to see. Jiu-jitsu for children will give them confidence, social skills, discipline, and a place to belong, like we said. I'm very lucky here, all the parents are very supportive as well. A lot of kids are competing now, doing well. Another thing that I believe is being diluted down now, we have sports day and all the kids get a gold medal and everybody's a winner.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit, okay, say you've got a child who puts the effort in and practices running or whatever, and he gets the same medal as the kid who didn't bother even trying.
Yeah, or didn't want
we,
to be
we
there.
don't do the same in a maths exam. We go, do you know what, you tried, we'll give you an A as well.
No.
You can't pick and choose when, oh what, because it's athletic and it's sport, we're now going to make everyone sick. No,
we have sets in maths, set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4.
Sports.
So you should have,
Life, no matter what you look at, there is competition. Like when you go for a job interview,
it's a competition.
There's going to be 100 people going for that job. You're competing against them to get the job. If you don't get the job, you might not have the job. The Jiu-Jitsu tournament, they don't give everybody a gold. It's the guy that puts in the hard work and dedication generally will win.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. He earns to be the gold medal. I'm not a fan of this weak mindset. You should push yourself to be physically fit, mentally fit, and have good spirit as well. You know, like it all goes together. And, you know, I see jiu-jitsu posts of people saying, "I won a silver medal." Well, you can't win a silver medal. You know, you took a silver medal, or I'm a silver medalist champion. No, there's only one champion, the guy that won.
Yeah.
Right? The guy that takes gold is the champion.
Yeah.
You're a silver medalist. Well done. You might have fought 5 or 6 people. Well done. You took a silver medal. But you can't call yourself a champion unless you took the gold.
So yeah, so you're basically, so you have a different stance on it here, because I was going to say, some people would say, okay, I got bronze, I got gold, and they'll still be, okay fine, you can be proud,
be proud, but
you're not like a champion.
If you take a bronze medal or a silver medal and you're happy with that, you've set that as your bar.
Yeah. You don't
go, okay, I took silver, but don't be happy with that.
Yeah.
Know that you need to improve to be the best.
It means that the problem, because you were probably expecting not to even get
there. You went to that job medal, the job interview, and you took silver. You didn't get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't take gold. You're not the champion.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to suddenly take gold every tournament. Ain't going to happen. You're going to have some losses, some wins, but you should always aim to be the best. And at the same time, you hear people, oh no, some of these guys train full time, or they train at this academy. Don't worry about what the other guys doing, worry about what you're doing.
Just
focus yourself, put the work in, and you can beat anyone if you put your mind to it.
Whatever you want.
Everybody's human. We're all human. Everybody can be beat.
No. You got
Tyson's been beat, you know, on any given day.
Yeah, exactly. No man, it's really good.
Roger Gracie's lost. Gordon Ryan's lost. They're all lost in jiu-jitsu anyway. But they've also won as well, and it's how they come back and how they conduct themselves.
I feel like losing is a really crucial part of your development too.
I think you have to taste defeat, know how it feels, but you also don't become one of them people that accepts it. Don't be like, you get them guys who are like, they just constantly keep losing. It's like they've got like a loser's mindset.
Yeah, it's okay to lose, and it's not okay to lose. You have to have that fist.
To lose, you've done something wrong. He ain't just a guy that's better than you. You've done some things wrong, and especially in jiu-jitsu, most submissions come off mistakes. You've made some mistakes, correct them, get better.
Yeah. Or someone's chess game is faster. Yeah. They're literally a little bit faster.
Exactly. If he's better than you, why is he better than you? Yeah. Where can you improve? What can you take from what he does?
That goes into critical reflection. Yeah. It's literally analysing and evaluating and reflecting on.
And that's another thing I encourage all my students to do. Like, you don't just come to a training session to get sweaty and train hard.
And burn calories.
That ain't gonna make you good. No, what happens after the training jiu-jitsu, you should be going home going, I passed that guard, but when I passed the guard, the guy got his guard back. What do I need to, I know what it was. I was letting him get the elbow inside, or if I got caught in the armbar. Why did I get caught in the armbar? Where did he, not just what part. Some people go, I need to learn to escape the armbar. No, you do need to. But why did you get caught in the armbar? What did you do wrong?
That allowed you.
There's loads of moments and moves to get to that. You didn't just fall in the armbar. Yeah. And that's
because you've either put your arm out or there's something in the mechanism.
Go home and analyse your game. Sometimes even video your training, watch it back, study it. A lot of people like to video their training and post it on Instagram. It's about good data.
You'll see a lot of mistakes when you do that.
Don't worry about posting it online. Just have it for you, watch it, and you'll see what you do wrong.
Yeah, you're surprised. I do that with teaching sometimes. So what I do is, everyone thinks they're great, right? When they don't see themselves. Yeah. So sometimes I'll actually record myself teaching maths at secondary, right? And when I watch back, I sit there, did you really have your back to the class? You know, like
analysing yourself.
You don't realise the things you do,
and you have to be honest with yourself. The camera don't lie.
No.
So you could have had your back, and you thought about it. I didn't have it in my back.
Right
but when you watch it back, you're like, actually, I did. So that's why a lot of people don't like watching things back. Because you're going to have to be honest with yourself. Same as tournament. Tournament's going to give you your honest opinion of your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and I guess you just take a loss. You have to feel it. I remember my first time. You don't want to lose. No one wants to lose them. But there's this sinking feeling, isn't it? Once you get past that, you're on the path to greatness.
Exactly.
No, man, I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say? I think you covered everything I wanted to ask.
No, if you're local to here and you want to try jiu-jitsu, first class is free. Come out, check it out. Everyone's welcoming, everyone's friendly.
Checkmat Essex, everyone. I'll put the link in the description below, and I hope everyone here has gained a lot of valuable information. I'm very inspired by Spencer's story, and I hope everyone here will like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Definitely get into jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, MMA, anything?
Yeah, we do jiu-jitsu, we do Thai, yoga, we do everything here.
Everything, just start training.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I started doing jiu-jitsu now. It's my full-time job. I live the dream. I train 7 days a week. I teach. I have my own academy. So I made it into a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Catch you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer.